So this was sent to me, and it said, Rick, I've been listening to your Strange Encounters podcast, and I have one that I'd like to share. Feel free to use this on your podcast if you like, and I would love to have that permission. So if not, I don't want to share something you don't want me to share. I am a follower of Jesus, and I grew up in a Baptist church. When I was a teenager, my youth group went to Shaco Springs for a youth camp. Pretty common where this emailer is emailing from. A lot of churches use this. The dorms were set up like hotel rooms where there were 3 or 4 of us in a room. I shared a room with 2 other boys. Our first night there, one of the others, I'll call him Tim for this retelling, wanted to play something called Bloody Mary. Now, if you aren't familiar with this, it's an urban legend that you stand in front of a mirror and you say Bloody Mary, 3 times, and something is supposed to jump out of the mirror. I didn't want to participate in this, but was talked into it by the 2 other roommates. After the second statement of Bloody Mary, I chickened out. I stepped away from the mirror. As I did, the other person we're going to call Tim reached out to grab me to keep me from stepping away. There was a mirror on the adjacent wall over the sink outside the bathroom. It did not occur to us that we were also standing in front of that mirror, and we really didn't pay any attention to it. But as Tim reached out to grab me, this gave him the vantage point to see the other mirror. He screamed in terror as we all dropped to the floor. Tim described a dark shadow in the shape of a person walking. The mirror was situated in a way that the reflection of anyone in the room would have been from the waist up, but Tim's description was that of a full head-to-foot body walking and actually growing larger as if it were coming from a distance inside the mirror toward our room. I've never seen anyone as genuinely terrified as Tim was, and we were shaken from the experience. Just then, we heard a knock on our door, and it was our youth pastor doing his rounds, making sure everyone was settled in for the night. We told him what had happened, and wisely, listen to this youth pastor told us that urban legends like these are not something to play around with. He said that these are often used by demons, the youth pastor is correct, as invitations to come in. He led us in a prayer to cleanse the room and protect us, and we had no more problems after that. Yeah, playing around with some of this stuff may seem so innocent, just like this 6-7 thing. Oh, it's just so innocent. What's the harm? It's just all good fun. And sometimes that is the case. And I know that sometimes we don't pay attention to these things because we have people within the church that seem to look for demons around every corner, and we don't want to do that. As a matter of fact, when people started asking me about this on the main show, Monday through Friday, I honestly didn't want to fool with it because there's almost this side of this that I want to study this. I want to do this, but I'd never like being the person that has to walk in and tell parents difficult things, especially friends that I know very well. And I know that they're great parents and I know this is consuming kids everywhere. And you may think to yourself, even if this comes from a bad place, maybe it's not a big deal. That's an interesting thought, but I wonder sometimes as parents if we would feel the same way, with other things that we know are dangerous for our children, would we ever take on, say, a knife that was left out on the counter? Well, I'm going to let my kid play with it, but I'm going to hope that the kid turns the knife away from him, doesn't stab himself or herself or anybody else. I mean, I know it's potentially dangerous, but if I'll just kind of keep an eye out, maybe something bad won't happen. I'll still let them play with the knife. You probably wouldn't do that. I'm going to let my kid keep playing on the side of the road because they're not actually in the road. And I'm sure it'll be fine that they won't accidentally wander out there or a car will careen over and hit them. See, all this sounds outrageous right now. I'm going to let my kid play with matches, and I'm going to stand there or just tell them, don't go out there and start a fire. These kind of things we would never do. But sometimes when it comes to entertainment and the culture, it's like we won't take the same attitude. We don't, and really what I think that is, and I've been guilty of it too. So I'm not preaching at you. I'm talking with you. When it comes to the spiritual realm, I think that sometimes you go, well, Rick, a knife, I know that's bad. I know playing by traffic's bad. I know playing with fire is bad. But if we truly believe what the Bible says, and that the spiritual realm is real, and that we have a devil, and we have Satan, the fallen angel Lucifer, that is extremely powerful, okay, not compared to God, but compared to human beings, and then the demons, which also operate with him. If we truly believe what we're saying, then why do we pretend that that is not dangerous? It's extremely dangerous.